Welcome to our Back to Basics webinar, The Ins and Outs of Canvas Assignments. I'm Helen Graves, your instructional designer at College of the Canyons. The first thing to know is that in Canvas, the assignment category includes not only what most of us consider assignments, like essays, presentations, homework problems, etc., but also quizzes and discussions. So depending on the context, when we say assignments, we might be talking about an individual traditional assignment or the entire category of graded assignments. You can create a new assignment using the Plus Assignment button here in the Assignments page. You can also organize assignments by category, which can be quite useful in assessing a student's performance. For example, maybe they're doing great on the quizzes and discussions, but not so well on the homework problems. That way you can help them identify the issue with homework and offer guidance. You can easily separate your assignments into groups. The default category is called Assignments. If you import content into your shell, you may also end up with a category called Imported Assignments. You can add a new category by clicking the Plus Group button. Organizing your categories is as easy as drag and drop. Whatever categories you use, those will show up in your gradebook, as well as in the student's grades area. For that reason, it's a good idea to either put everything in the default assignments category, or create meaningful category names and group your assignments accordingly. Don't have an empty group, or like here where I have two imported assignment groups. Since students see these in their grades view, it can cause anxiety and confusion if they have 0% for a particular assignment category, or if they don't understand what a category means. Assignment groups allow you to apply special rules, such as dropping the highest or lowest grade of the assignment set. To do that, select the Options icon in the assignment title bar. Once you open the Edit mode, you can change the group name, the number of highest or lowest scores to ignore, and indicate if a specific assignment should never be dropped. It's important to remember that if you are dropping grades in this way, you have to enter a 0 in the gradebook for any assignment not submitted by a student. Canvas will only drop graded items. If you want, you can weight the grades so that, for example, quizzes are worth 25%, essays are worth 35%, self-reflection is 15%, and tasks are worth 25%. What this means is, whatever the total point value of the quizzes in absolute terms, they contribute as a group 25% to the final grade. We're not going to go into the ins and outs or the whys of weighting grades. There are plenty of resources on the web if you want information about pros and cons and how to determine percentages. I just wanted to show you how easy Canvas makes it if you do weight your grades. It's simply a matter of creating the categories you'll be weighting in your assignment area. So I have assignments, quizzes, and imported assignments. I would probably rename that before I actually published this for students. Once I have the categories that I want, come up to the 3 dots Options menu and select Assignment Groups Weight. Tick the little box that says Weight Final Grade, and then insert my percentages. It's easy to see whether things total 100% or not and adjust as needed. If you have items you don't want to be part of the calculations, put all of those assignments in a single category and give it 0% here in the weighting. Maybe perhaps warn students that that category isn't part of their grade total so they don't panic over the 0%. If you're not weighting grades, but you want to have a dedicated extra credit assignment, you can just set the points for the assignment to 0. Later, during the grading, you can add however many points the student earned for attempting the extra credit assignment. Alternatively, Canvas allows you to mark an assignment grade with a higher value than the stated points. Let's take a quick look at the anatomy of an assignment. When you open the assignment editor, you'll have the text field for your assignment instructions. Below that are the various settings where you can identify the point value. You can determine the assignment group. You can decide how to display. Points is the default and the recommended way, but you may decide to do complete, incomplete, or a percentage, or whatever. We'll just leave it as points. You can indicate not to count this assignment toward the final grade. Here in submission type, you have several options. No submission would be for something like a presentation, where the student isn't handing anything in. On paper is available for items that you'll be collecting in person. The online option gives you a variety of options, and you can even select multiples. If I want to allow students to submit file uploads and provide them with a text entry box, I could do both of those. The final option is the external tool, and that allows you to enable an LTI like Turnitin or Flipgrid or a publisher integration as a way for students to submit the assignment. You can indicate the number of attempts, whether it's a group assignment or not, if you're using peer review. And the final option is who you're assigning it to. Assignments can be assigned to everyone in the course, and that's the way it's set up by default, but you can also differentiate by section or user. This is one way to extend the due date for a student. So I'll click the plus button to create another assign to field, and I'll say that Robert is going to get a different due date than what everyone else has. So we'll say his is due on October 8th. And you'll notice it changes the designation up here to everyone else. So Canvas recognizes the same assignment has two different settings here. Any graded assignment, meaning also graded discussions and quizzes created by you in the assignments area, will automatically show up in the gradebook and in the course summary on the syllabus page. Once your assignment has a due date, it will also show up on the Canvas calendar. If you want an assignment to show up on your student's calendar and syllabus, but you don't want the column to appear in the gradebook, you can select either no submission or on paper, and then set the display grade as not graded. Well, that's the basics of using assignments in Canvas.